Welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice, coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, in the studios of 4680Q. We're here again on finally Friday. This is it, the end of the week. It doesn't get better than this. And just go outside, put your finger in the air. It's 50 degrees, no hat. No hat today, 50 degrees. Look at, I'm just here, 50 degrees, no hat. And we're ready to go. This is it. Finally Friday, the weekend coming up. Yeah, and you know what? We're just a couple of weeks away from the 2026 operations budget that's coming down in the city of Niagara Falls in about 2 weeks. Yeah, January 20th. I think they have their meeting. So I'm looking forward to that next Friday. I think January 20th or something like that. Next Friday, we're going to have Al McKay from the Property Taxpayers Alliance in, and we're going to talk about all these budgets, the regional budget that was handed down last night. I never saw anything about it. I have to look it up because they were going to decide on their budget last night and what they were going to do with the 2.7 million police budget. So great. We'll see what happens. It's all coming together towards the end of the month. I can't wait. It's a great time of year for me. I love doing this stuff. And we'll talk a little bit about that later in the show because I did go through the budget. It's out, and I'll talk more about it later. So this morning when I got up, 4:30, 50 degrees outside. Are you kidding me? 50 degrees in January. The January thaws here. Everything's nice out there. A little bit windy, partly sunny. What a beautiful day in Niagara Falls. 50% humidity, that was going up when I left the house, and the barometer was 29 flat this morning, but that was also going up. And this is just fantastic. And our mild winter thaws here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're supposed to be going to 55 today. I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. I'd like to have it for like another week, but it'll be going into the weekend for sure. And then we're going to start getting to more seasonable temperatures. All good things come to an end. Oh, well, hey, listen, it's not bad. We can't complain for this time of year in Niagara Falls, Canada. Towards the end of next week, we're going to be going back into the teens. But that's not bad. I mean, we're going to be in the middle of the month. 2 weeks left in January after that. 4 weeks in February, 6 weeks. We are in spring in March, and that's the end of the act for this winter. So it hasn't been too bad yet. But we know what's coming. We know it's coming. We can take advantage of this nice weather today, but we know what's coming. And that's why I'm telling you, while it's nice out, make your appointment with Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Go take your car in, get it checked out in the nice weather so you don't break down in the bad weather. That's the worst time to have a breakdown. Now's the time to do it. You have time. You've got another week to get it in there and get it checked out, because once that winter really sets in, it gets cold, your battery's going to fail, your car is going to sputter, your antifreeze might not be up to snuff, your heater might not be working, your suspension, your brakes, you want to make sure they're okay. You want to get those winter tires on if you haven't got them on by now. I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. But anyway, Wild Bill, they're going to take care of you. Ken Hunter's going to take care of you. On Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership, they have a full body shop. You get in a wreck, they're going to fix your car, send it back to you in showroom condition. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Give them a call today. WildBillsAuto.ca. And while you're at WildBillsAuto.ca, go to YouTube. Look up Paul Lemire 4973 or search Your City, Your Voice. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Comment, leave comments. Come on, you guys. Let's go. Let's get involved. We got the election coming up. We got the budget in 2 weeks. You got to have something to say about that. It's your money they're blowing. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? Tune in here if you want to know what's going on, because I talk about it all the time. I'm going to be talking about it every day for the next 2 weeks, as a matter of fact. And then we're going to get into the election and be talking about that all the time. So, yeah, make sure you subscribe. You get a notification when I pop a video on, and you're good to go. So, I'm going to talk about my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and that'll come at the half hour, about halfway through the show. We got a slap fest going on out here. Everybody's trying to get into Grand Central, parking all over the place and fighting for parking spots. Yeah, we got a crew. We got a crew out here today. Beautiful. I love watching out this window. It's fantastic. Okay, so the operations workbook is out. That's right. You can go to niagarafalls.ca and you can go and check out our operations budget for 2026, what they're projecting they're going to need. And if you're into the city budgets, that's the place to go. You go there and you follow this show, and you're going to get what you got to know. I'm not a poet. Check that budget out because it's very, very important. It's your money they're spending. And I did a real quick look at it, a real preliminary look at it. And we'll talk about that right now for a minute, and then I'm going to get back to something else. So, the operating budget book is out, like I said, and you find it by doing a search at niagarafalls.ca, our new $1 million website. Is that what it cost, $1 million? I don't know. I can't find an exact number, but I wouldn't doubt if they spent a lot of money on it. Maybe not $1 million. It may be $1 million like the eclipse attracted $1 million, that kind of $1 million. But hey, if everybody else can do it, why can't I? Well, I went in there to try to find this budget, just this budget book. And it took me 3 tries wandering around. The other one, I could find it like with one click. I don't think it's as user-friendly as the old one, but take that with a grain of salt, only because I've only used it a few times, and you got to get used to things to see if they're better or worse. But so far, I had a hard time finding this operating budget, and I typed in operating budget 2026, and it took me all over the place. So what the problem is that I didn't know what it was called. So if you go the operations budget or operating budget for 2026, you're going to have to go all over the place, because the catch is it's called the 2026 Mayor's Proposed Tax Levy Supported Budget. So if you just go the operations budget, the AI isn't that smart. I know it's supposed to be, but it isn't that smart. So it was giving me agita in there. And I finally found it though, right? So now what I did, and I'll give you a little hint. If you get in there and finally find it, bookmark it. Hit the bookmark. So you've got it in your bookmark list and you go right to it. So the mayor's proposed tax levy supported budget. Just to confuse you. And 196 pages of operating budget is there for your perusal. Here's a bit of a guide. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a guide here while you're looking at it. Okay, so it's 196 pages. I just went through the first maybe 8 or 9 pages just to get the lowdown on what they're talking about. And I could be wrong here. But at the end of the day, right? I'm just gonna shut this door over here because we have somebody coming in the studio and them make noise and fool around here. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Page 4, 5, and 6 are the basics. That's your basic budget, revenue versus expenses with a comparison to 2025. The details are in the following 190 pages, which I will be going through. What do we have? Well, we have a bottom line, a deficit of $4,776,961, which you are going to be asked to pay. So that's got to be around 6%, like they were talking about. I figured it out just by using $700,000 for every percentage point. And if you divide that number by 700,000, you get 7.1%. But I really should have figured it out by that increase over the amount of money that they're going to spend. 177 million, I think, something like that, 79 million. And that would probably give me a better indication as to exactly what we're going to be doing. Now, our revenue is 174,966,158, and that's 10,817,233 more than 2025. But our expenses have escalated by close to $5 million. Why? I don't know. Why have our expenses escalated $5 million? That I'm going to have to dive deeper into the budget to be able to find out. So this is where I get my 7.1%. Let's do some quick math to make up 5 million and have the operations budget come in at zero increase. We need to find 5 million of savings in the 196 pages of entries. Now, 5 million represents, like I'm saying, 7.1% increase in your taxes, which is ouch. But I'm not sure if it's 700,000 or a million for every point. But if it's a million for every point, then they're going to raise it 5 points. If it's 700,000, they're going to raise it 7.1. They said 6 when they started this thing, so it could be somewhere in between. But we already saw an increase in the capital budget. Now we're going to looking at a $5 million deficit in the operations budget, which they're going to have to get from somewhere. So it looks like we're going to get stung bad somewhere along the line here. I was looking through some of the expenses, and our software costs for all this new technology is like $5 million. Last year was 4.2 million. So that's almost 10 million over 2 years in our software. We're hiring more people, of course. We hired maybe 60 over the last few years. And all the sunshine list people guaranteed they are. I mean, that's what they pay people now. So we've done all this and spent all this money, but our consulting costs have increased by 1.5 million. I have to ask why. We're hiring all these people and we have all this software that is allegedly being put in to make work easier for everybody and make them more productive. Why are we still spending tons of money on consulting fees? I mean, they went up by $1.5 million. So that's a concern for me. Our interest and principal costs, the cost of borrowing money and paying back the interest and the principal for things like the exchange, $17 million, the Innocent Tea Trail, $17 million, any big projects like that. Now, I don't know if that's what they borrow money to do those things, but usually big capital expenditures, they do borrow money on. And of course, not only do we have to pay the principal back, we have to pay the interest back, much like any other kind of loan. That's all that is a loan. And let's see, the 6.4 million for consulting fees. For some reason, we're paying 8.8 million for internal rent. Exactly what are we renting for $8.8 million? See, this is the thing. They don't tell you this stuff. So I've got to check that out more as I go through the ledger. But one thing I did notice, and are they listening to me, or what's the story here? Because they finally have budgeted 18 million of casino revenue instead of the usual lowball of 14 million. So they always budgeted 14 million, even though we got 18 million, which put us on a low side of the revenue. And of course, when you have less revenue coming in and you have more expenses, your taxes go up. You got to make it up somehow. Now they've allocated 18 million of casino revenue instead of the usual 14 million, which I was saying they should always do. They should have been doing it for the last however long they haven't. And that really makes me suspicious. All of a sudden they chose to go that route. The squirrel said, no, we can't do that because that casino money's not guaranteed. What if we don't get it? We're going to be in bad shape. We just can't do that. Now, all of a sudden, she's become Diamond Jim Brady, Diamond Jim Squirrel. She's spending the money. Oh, yeah, we're going to put that in there now all of a sudden. What happened to the beware? Which makes me think that the casino's going to generate more money in 2026. She's still holding back $4 million like she did before, but the revenue is going to go up to $22 million, so she can allocate $18 million. So why is the revenue going up that much? Well, Doug Ford announced he wants to get more tourists here. And he wants to open more casinos. Is that promise really, really close to happening? Are they giving out licenses like in the next couple months? And these things will be up and running by the tourist season, the new casinos, wherever they're going? There's something going on because she was Tiffany Clark, the squirrel, I call her. She was adamant about not putting all that money in that. People just don't change their minds all of a sudden arbitrarily. And I can't believe she listened to me. In other words, I've been saying this for a long time. Put the whole amount in and quit screwing us. And all of a sudden she's going to listen to that? No, I don't think so. So something else is going on. I don't know what it is. I got to keep my eyes open, and so do you, because remember, they're playing with your money here. So that was pretty odd. Something's going on. I don't know what. Something's going on. And okay, let's take a quick look at it. I'm gonna go through all the 196 pages and take notes. I'll start that this weekend, and I'll be running through it as we run through next week and get to that meeting. I think it's January 20th. So keep your eyes open. Get in there, NiagaraFalls.ca, the 2026. You got to look up the 2026 mayor's proposed tax levy supported budget, just so you get it right. Okay, so there you go. That's it. Let's see what happens. That's all we can do. All we can do is just let it roll out and see what happens. But it's going to be interesting. Now, let's go back because I had something else ahead of this, but I didn't think it was as important when I looked at it as the operations budget. And I've got a couple messages here. I think John. I think it's John Ringo Beam. He says, stop paying the police, save $4 million. Bravo, John. If they listen to me about the casino money, maybe they'll listen to me about the police money, and somebody will bring that up. I have to look at the ledger, see where it is. I never noticed it right away. But we do pay the police $3.6 million, $4 million. 18% of what our take is from the casino go to the police, Niagara Regional Police, and that's over and above the millions upon millions we already pay them to do their job in the $247 million police budget that's going to be okayed. It might have been okayed last night. So we got to get that back. Come on, somebody stand up and say, we want our money back. We're not paying that extortion anymore to patrol the casino area. You patrolled that area before the casino was here. It's part of your patrol. Quit ripping us off. Good point, John. Now, they put the casino revenue at $18 million, John said. Police get 18% of that due to Penguin's deal internal rents. No one asks in council. Yeah, that's true. Could that be part of the internal rents, the police budget? I don't know. But it could be, John. You're right, 8.8 million, but we usually give them around 3.6 million. 18% of 18 million would be 1.8, and then another 2 million, maybe 2 million or something. I have to bring out my calculator, figure that one out. I'm not as quick at it as I used to be. Nor am I as good at finding things on this new phone here that you can call and text me like John did. So let's see, John, 3. Let's see, we're gonna go 18 million times 18%, and that equals 3.24 million. Okay, so that's what we'd be paying them. Now those internal rents are 8.8 million, so I don't know where the other 5 million is. I have to figure and ask about that one, John. Good point, though. Good points. Thank you for texting. And if you want to text in and give me a message here, it's 289 994 7560. That's 289 994 7560. And we're going to talk more about the operations budget as we go along. And I'm sure John will have more to text me. He always pays attention to this as close as anybody. And he knows what he's talking about as well. Okay, so let's go down to Clifton Hill, and Timmy's is closing. A lot of people in town are upset. Tim Hortons on Clifton Hill is closing. Done. Over and out. To me, like, who cares? Apparently, Hoko, the property owner, said that the franchise agreement has expired and they're going to renovate and turn the space into a new retail concept, which is scheduled to open this May. Being the good people they are, all the employees have been offered a transfer to one of their other properties and businesses on the hill if they want to go, and that's good to see. That's good for the Oaks family. Company president Harry Oaks said that they really didn't explore extending the franchise because they didn't want to commit to another 10 to 20 years of Tim Hortons. It would take away their flexibility and what they could do with the building. He went on to say this way, if we want to bring a new attraction in, let's see, I got to find Ed. Oh boy. We want to bring a new attraction in, we can do it. We can do whatever we like because we are flexible. We don't have that property to deal with for the next 10 or 20 years. We want to rebuild or renovate the building as we see fit. Now, I wonder if the new announcements from Hoko and Harry Oaks has to do with the new Ford announcement about tourism. Now, if they're expecting to double tourism traffic in this area, maybe a Tim Hortons, operating a Tim Hortons, which at the best of times, restaurants have razor thin margins and they're difficult to operate in this environment today. That, hey, we can make more money doing other crazy stuff like wax hands and things they had in there before. So I think that they're planning around Ford's announcement, around more people coming to Niagara Falls, and around basically putting in services and attractions or whatever they're going to do that can make more money. They can generate more money than a Tim Hortons. And, you think Tim Hortons would be huge, but there's a lot of competition in that business around that area. So interesting they're doing that, but they're renovating and they're going to do it. So I wish them well, whatever they do. They've been around a long time. They're good corporate citizens. They give a lot back to the city over the years. They've been around forever, the Oaks family and Hoko. So good for them. Let's see what they do. Thanks to Ray Spiteri for the story and the review. Of course, I always consult the review for a lot of different things. So we've got to that. We got to the operations budget, and we can move on now to, let's see what else we're going to have here. Well, the new website. I mean, you got to go try the new website. When I first looked at it, I thought, okay, I kind of wandered through it for a second. John Beam said it wasn't as user friendly as the old one. And then when I started going through it today, I said, John, you were right. Like I say, it took me three times to find this crazy budget before I could find it in one shot. Now, I was familiar with the old website, so I knew exactly where to go. And probably with this one, I'll probably get into the same realm once I use it more. But man, it's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. Let me put it that way. Like I say, my suggestion is when you find something and you go back there all the time, whether it's your water and tax bills, you can go in and look at. That's what I go in for. City council meetings, city council budgets, whatever. Bookmark them. Give them a bookmark. And then you can just click on the bookmark and go right to that page unless they monkey around and change things more. Now, do we have any more messages here? Where does all up? Let's see. No one asked council in turnarounds. It's a shell game. Where does all the benefit money go? I don't know what you're talking about. Benefit money. I'm not sure about that. What he's talking about, maybe, but do the city pay the workers' benefits and they collect or something? What are you talking about? Please expand on that. Where do all the benefits go? What benefits? Well, I have continually told you for the past 3 years, the demographics have changed over the last 10 years to the point that a conservative government will probably never have a chance at winning again. They won't be elected again, the conservatives. It's impossible, as the demographics have swung to groups that are favored. New research shows that while Canadians trust in political institutions and politicians in general has remained stable over the last 15 years, the proportion who express a high degree of trust in the PM is the highest recorded during that period. Wow. Now that's a statement right there. That's a statement right there, considering Carnage has done nothing except make more money from Brookfield. And making more money for Brookfield does not help Canadians, yet Canadians have the highest degree of trust in the last 15 years. And the percentage of Canadians, and I use the term Canadian very, very loosely, to have some trust in the PM jumped 65% in 2010 to 80% in 2025. So the trust in the PM was 65% in 2010. Now it's 85%. Well, 80%. Now go figure that one out. How do we do that? We had Trudeau for 10 years now, and the trust in the PM has gone up after what Trudeau pulled. All the scams, all the fraud, everything else he pulled. And Canadians specifically expressed a high degree of trust in Mark Carney. Double what it was, 16% in Harper's final years. Now you go figure that one out. But you know what? It makes sense. Those who trust in the Prime Minister's office jumped 9% from 2023 to 25 when leadership changed from Trudeau to Carney. And that makes perfect sense because the people who they're asking have benefited from the Liberal government. Your public service unions with sweetheart deals, your special interest groups that get anything they want, new immigrants to Canada that get free money, free rent, free board, free healthcare, free education, free everything on our dime. Of course they're happy with Carney and the Liberals. Now, opinions regarding the country's leader show a big divide between parties. 60% of Liberals have a high level of trust in Carney, while 11% of Conservatives have a high level of trust in him. And strangely enough, these numbers match exactly the sentiments in the United States of Republicans versus Democrats. So they're exactly the same. That's pretty wild, huh? Obviously, those demographics who are benefiting most from the current government would have a high degree of satisfaction. And they now represent the majority in Canada. And that's what I mean when I talk about demographics having changed. We're not the same country anymore. After 10 years of Trudeau, after open borders, we are not the same country. So I believe these polls. And that's why a stiff like Carney, who's done absolutely nothing for Canadians, is still popular. If there was an election tomorrow, the demographics in Canada, due to the open borders, the policies of the Liberals, the catering to special interest groups, public service unions, with backing from the lamestream media, would get the majority again. I believe Carney would get a majority again. There's no leader that I can think of who's dynamic enough and who would really, really represent conservative values that could win, including Poilievre. Interestingly enough, Canadians age 60 or greater, that's you, that's me, who said that they had a high degree of trust in the PM was much higher than any other group. they're the ones who expressed that they have a lot of confidence in the PM, rising sharply from 23% in 2023, near the end of the Trudeau tenure, to 44% in the middle of 2025 under Carnage. And I can see that. I mean, there's a lot more benefits that we get as seniors. I mean, we still lag way behind a manageable, livable income, but we still do get a lot more benefits than we used to. They do all right under the Liberals. I mean, that's great, and it's much like raising the minimum wage and that. But the more money we get, somebody's going to have to pay for it, and it's going to be passed on to our children. That it has to be. We're not working. We don't pay any taxes, so who's paying it? Got to be the kids, and they're the ones who are going to get hammered in the future to pay our bills. So interesting stuff there, but I mean, I just think this whole thing reflects the change in demographics in Canada. That's it. That's it. When you allow so many people in the country, it's going to change the way people think. It's going to change the way people vote. It's going to change the way money is spent. And of course, it's going to change the mindset of everybody who's benefiting from liberal policies, their tax and spend government. So there you go. And I said that. I've been saying that. It's demographics. Demographics are changing the world. Okay, what else we got here? Any more mess? Oh yeah, internal rents are shocking. Where's all the benefit money go? 4 clicks is the maximum to find something on a website. Yes, 30% of wages are benefits. We talked about that. If you make $100K, the city pays 30% more for benefits. So where's all the money for benefits going? Well, to benefits. I guess that answers that question. You answered your own question, John. Okay, a lot of people are freaking out over the Minnesota shooting. I left a 37-year-old woman dead, and the left-wing media is running with it, trying to make it another George Floyd moment. And you see it on the news. They're showing these beautiful pictures of this 37-year-old woman who has 3 kids. Yeah, she has 3 kids. She's not taking care of all 3 of them, who came to Minnesota to follow ICE and obstruct them and harass them, who pulled her car in front of ICE vehicles to stop them from going down the road, who then decided to disobey ICE, telling her to get out of the car, and then who decided to step on the gas with an ICE agent right in front of her car. He fired a shot. It hit her in the right spot to unalive her. And now everybody's up in arms. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So now they're trying to make her George Floyd. That's right. They're trying to make her a martyr. And they're blah, 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 this, that, the media, innocent. They're protesting now in all cities across the USA. I mean, George Floyd, if you don't know who he was, let me tell you who he was. He was a drug addict. He was a criminal felon. And he even went into a pregnant woman's house and held a gun against her stomach while his friends, high on drugs, robbed her. Yeah, that's what he did, George Floyd. And these people put up statues to him. He was their poster boy for a long time. He was arrested high on drugs, had to be subdued, died from police having to subdue him. That guy, they say the cop killed him. The cop went to jail for it. A lot of people are saying he had a heart attack because he was high on cocaine and crack, and his heart just blew up. Whatever. The bottom line is they martyred this guy, and he was a criminal. And that's what they're doing to this woman. They're doing the same thing to her. And here's the wild part. It's not enough all this happened. Her wife got out of the car and started filming all this. She wanted to film it. Her refusing to cooperate with ICE, with the authorities. Her turning her car so she could block the road from ICE. She was recording it all on video to put on, I don't know, TikTok, YouTube, just to prove that the ICE were doing stuff illegal or something. So she got out of the truck and actually started filming it as she said, I'm going to do this, you film it. And she started to harass ICE in that and then ran it at the cop. You can see it from the front video. I mean, it's all going to come out what was going on, but yeah, this is ridiculous. And of course, this is going to happen, like I said, once a week. We're going to see something like this until the midterms. They're going to make her a martyr. Hey, $650,000 has been raised through a GoFundMe somebody put into place for her. $650,000. She's dead. Where's that money going to? It's there. She's got 3 kids. They should all get it, right? Maybe not. The other kids are living with her father. She don't even have custody of them. So here's the question. Why would an honest, law-abiding citizen do this? Now people are saying, oh, she was trying to make a U-turn. No, she wasn't trying to make a U-turn. And basically, a law-abiding citizen would not do this. They would not do this. They're not just driving down the street and somebody shot them, a cop shot them. No, that never happened. This wasn't an accident. It was planned on her part. This is what she planned to do. She was dogging ICE agents, and it's not the first time. Oh, this stuff's all going to come out. You just wait and see. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So who's to blame? Who's to blame for this? Well, she is. I mean, of course. She's the one who decided to do this. But the Democrats, I blame the Democrats because they continually demonize ICE, demonize the police. They tell these people to go out and riot. Hell, Mark Kelly from Texas even told the military not to obey Trump, the commander-in-chief. He's going to go to jail. But he's taking a military trial. That's what that guy's taking. This is what they do, these left-wing lunatics. Defy police, get Noemi, get Bondi, get Patel, shoot at Trump. These Democrats are scumbags. They encourage these people, and then when they go out and do it, and they get killed, unalived, I don't think you could say killed anymore, can you? Unalived. Then they whine and cry that they got unalived, but they're at fault. Guys like Tim Walz encouraging people to defy ICE, defy them, to protect criminals, to protect illegal aliens. This is what they encourage. And then things happen and they blame everybody else? No, the blame goes right in their shoulders. Right on their shoulders. Who in their right mind, and I say liberalism is a mental illness all the time, who in their right minds want criminal gangs running their cities? Who wants Somalians who we brought into this country and gave them everything out of the goodness of our hearts as taxpayers? Who wants them to defraud taxpayers of over $10 billion, running shell companies that aren't even existent, that have no customers, but billing the government, and then Tim Walz okays it all? It's unbelievable. They encourage this. They encourage this woman to defy ICE. They encourage them to defy authority. They're responsible for her death as much as anybody else. And they should be held accountable, all of them. And this doesn't end with the events in Minnesota. 2 people are also shot in Portland, Oregon, for running their cars at ICE agents. Portland police were called to a report of a shooting and confirmed that 2 federal agents had been involved in the shooting. Officers arrived at the shooting and found a male and female with gunshot wounds and called emergency personnel, who transported them to a local hospital. The Department of Homeland Security said the driver of the vehicle weaponized the vehicle against federal agents, and they took the appropriate action. Of course, the shooting came as protests and vigils continue for Renee Good, Nicole Good. I've read 2 different names for her. I don't even know who the hell she is. Shot dead in Minnesota for weaponizing her vehicle against federal agents as well. Now, the Department of Homeland Security says One of the vehicle's passengers in Portland was a Venezuelan illegal alien affiliated with a trendy Aragua prostitution ring. When agents identified themselves to the occupants during a targeted traffic stop, the driver tried to run them over. Fearing for his life and safety, the agent fired a defensive shot. The driver then drove off, fleeing the scene. Is the scenario true as depicted by the Department of Homeland Security? Who knows? I don't know. It's just coming out, all this stuff. But I'm sure there's video evidence to support it, because there's video evidence to support everything these days. And of course, Portland officials who have let the criminal protesters take over their Capitol building in the past, remember the Summer of Love, they called it, went ice out just like they prevented the National Guard from coming in and cleaning the terrorists out previously. They're truly behind these criminals and gang members and treat law and order with disdain. This is another one to keep an eye on right here. See what's going on in the States. There's more and more of this going on. There's more fraud. They're talking trillions of dollars. California checking in with maybe over $100 billion of fraud. Massachusetts, Oregon, Ohio, Minnesota, every state, they're running scams on the government. And now J.D. Vance, Vice President of the United States, said they are cutting off all federal funding to Minnesota. They're not getting a dime until they straighten this out. Guelph says he's going to straighten it out, the governor. Tampon Tim. Yeah, that's like letting OJ investigate the Nicole Smith murder. So forget about it. They're going to get what they have coming to them. It's only a matter of time. For anybody waiting to see arrests, all I can tell you is hang tight. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's what John Ringo Beam still going with this benefit topic. Is it health? Topping up pensions? Where's the money going? Is it for the rub and tug sessions to deal with stress? Good one, John. Questions not answered at all. Okay, so we're going to have to ask those questions, right? We're going to have to ask those questions. We don't get a breakdown of where the money goes. John wants to know. Inquiring minds want to know. And I know he's joking around. Well, maybe he's not about rub and tugs, but whatever. Okay, my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And, whenever I look for pizza, I want consistency. That's what I want, more than anything. And if it's consistent and you have a good formula for sauce and your crust, you usually get an A1 pizza. And the ability to be able to repeat that is paramount when you're dealing in pizza. Well, that's where Pete's Pizza has it really, really good, because they use the Mancini family recipe for sauce, the Mancini family recipe for their crust. That makes it consistent. You throw in a beautiful combination of brick and mozzarella cheese, fresh toppings in the right ratio on the pizza. It doesn't get better than that. Try it. Pete's Pizza works if you really want a beautiful pizza. It's really, really good. And what else do they have? Well, they have wings, panzerotti. They have poutine, steak and cheese poutine, steak sandwiches, chicken parm sandwiches. They run the whole gamut of food. You're not going to go wrong. You're going to find something you like at Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. And now they have a new location, Fraudesota Road and Kaler Road in the northwest part of the city. So you guys can all have great pizza as well. How do you get one of these beautiful pizzas? You dial 905-374-2222, or you go to their website, petespizzavictoria.ca. You can order off the website. Dine, skip the dishes, dine and dash, whatever the heck they're called. They all use them, and they'll deliver it to you themselves, and they get it there quick. So it's hot and fresh. Yeah, that's Pete's Pizza. They do it right, I'm telling you. Victoria Avenue, or now Fraudesota and Kaler Road, open till 2 in the morning, Friday and Saturday. Tonight, after you come home from a couple of wobbly pops, get a nice pizza. Till midnight during the week for your convenience. Pete's Pizza, Victoria Avenue, and now Fraudesota and Kaler. support our sponsors, they support the city, and they make one heck of a pizza. Take it from me, a pizza snob. Okay, so speaking of Fraudesota, that's what I call Minnesota. The inquiry into the fraud is getting blown wide open now. The Leering Center, I remember that building? It was called the Learning Center. They couldn't even spell learning right on the sign. It said the Leering Center. Well, mysteriously, since Nick Shirley got there and tried to figure out why there was no students, it's closed. Yep, now closed. It had so many violations, it should have been closed down a long time ago, but the Tim Walz government of Minnesota just overlooked it and let him continue to scam the public because there's never any students there. Now, the committee that Minnesota has looking into the situation changed the name of the fraud, in other words, stealing money. They changed it to overbilling. That's right. When they saw these people were stealing money, they changed the theft that they found to overbilling. Oh, they weren't stealing money. They were just overbilling. Like, overbilling is when you charge people too much. Fraud is when there isn't such a person and you're charging the government for somebody that doesn't exist. That's not overbilling. And they said, oh, we're going to get the money back. We're going to claw this money back from these companies. They never got a cent back. Of course not. They never got a cent back. Tim Walz was involved in all this. He knew all about it. And now they're going to ask him to investigate it. Forget about it. Can't do that. You can't let the person who allowed it investigate it. These people are connected to fraudulent billing, child trafficking, killings, kidnappings, the amount of crime perpetrated by Somalians and government officials working in unison is truly disturbing. And every tax-paying citizen of Minnesota should be up in arms about this. But no, they're on the streets protesting that ICE is looking into it, and they want to straighten it out. Can you imagine this? Nick Shirley has now found 1,200 fake transportation companies. He's worked on the healthcare. He's worked on the autism centers that never had any students, never had anybody going there to be treated. Now he's looking at transportation companies, 1,200 of them in Minnesota, getting state people to drive disabled people around. People that never existed. Now, the state itself runs transportation for people that are disabled and who need rides that can't afford them in that or in some way not unable to drive themselves, can't afford taxis and that. So to think that on top of everything the state provides, there's 1,200 getting state and federal money for these fraudulent companies. I mean, come on. How bad, how blind do you have to be? You're either blind or you're in collusion with these guys making money. You're getting payoff to turn your blind eye to it. Or you're just stupid, but I don't think they're just stupid. There's too many of them to be just all of them stupid, although they are maybe. But these people, these companies made millions. The vans they bought on taxpayer dollars never turned a wheel. They're just sitting in the yard. It looks like the meteor crater. A bunch of vans, never even being used. The only time they were used was to take people who owned them, these companies, to shuttle them around or their friends around. Other than that, they weren't even used. Nick Shirley stood and watched them for a few days. They never turned a wheel. Never turned a wheel. But they were charged for being used every day. Now, imagine that. Wouldn't you think there'd be gas receipts they have to turn in and blah, blah, blah to prove that they're using them? No, nothing. They just pay them money. They send in a bill for transporting 10,000 people, and the state would just send them the money. Unfriggin' believable. Multi-million-dollar Ubers for their own use. To pay employees that never existed and transport people that never existed. This is the kind of fraud you're going on across the United States of America. And for you Canadians sitting there going, wow, what a bunch of losers. Hey, it's happening here. It's happening here big time. We just don't have anybody in the government that's going to look into them and find out what's going on. I guarantee you that, because they're all in cahoots with them. Unbelievable. That's what's going on in Fraudesota, and it's only going to get worse. It's crazy. It's insane. It's insanity, the amount of money. And this is all coming out of taxpayers' pockets. These states say, we can't afford healthcare. We can't afford homelessness to help the homeless. People are living on the streets. We can't afford to deal with them. Meanwhile, these immigrants who came to the United States illegally or on visas or whatever, how they got into the States, welcome with open arms. Come on in. We can help you. We know Somalia is a hole. And then they steal. That's what they do. And not only do they steal, they tell others how to steal. They educate each other on how to steal from the United States taxpayers. It is sickening. It is sickening. Okay, enough of that. Over to Iran, where the country's totally collapsing. That's right, Iran's done. Nationwide protests are putting the nation under stress, as well as sanctions that are causing the economy to struggle, sanctions by the United States and other countries. So the revolutionaries are launching protests across the country. In September, the UN reimposed sanctions on them due to its atomic program, plunging Iran's currency into free fall, now exchanging at more than 1.4 million to $1. They're in trouble over there. Trump has issued a stark warning to Iran. If Tehran forces violently kill peaceful protesters, the U.S. will come to their rescue. And this statement comes after the long-standing ally of Tehran, and that's Nicolas Maduro. He was captured last week, of course. And Trump says we are watching it very closely. If they start killing people that like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States. More than 340 protests have taken place all across Iran, 31 provinces. The death toll has reached 41, with more than 2,270 arrests. Understanding the scale of the protests is very difficult, as Iran does not provide information. In the rial, the Iranian currency, collapses, the price of goods have escalated 40%. So as it collapses, the price of goods escalate by 40% so far. The people are being hit hard by the collapse and sanctions and are taken to the streets. Khomeini is rumored to be in Moscow now, the spiritual leader, the Ayatollah of rock and roll, Ayatollah Khomeini. So it's devolving very fast in Iran, and it's gonna collapse. And hopefully the Shah of Iran's son, Reza Pahlavi, I think his name is Pahlavi, whatever I pronounce that name. But anyway, the son of the Shah of Iran, who ran the country for many years before Ayatollah Khomeini came back from exile in France and took the country back over and plunged it back into the Stone Ages with burqas and everything else. It's going to perhaps drag itself out of that and get back to a free country, as modern as the United States was at one time. Now it's got to come back. Over to Venezuela, where Trump is going to control the country until a government is formed, and the U.S. military is commandeering any ship that is transporting oil out of Venezuela, seizing it and calling it their own. Whether it's Russia or China owned, doesn't matter. They're doing it. They just commandeered Bella 1, which is a Russian vessel, and they had a Russian sub escorting it. And I will guarantee you that if there was a Russian sub escorting this boat, this oil tanker, there was an American sub not far away. Not far away. They're running in that area. We know that. Nobody knows where they are. They do, and they know what's going on. I mean, Russia, what are they going to do? They pull any stunts and they get blown out of the water. You know that. Right now, the U.S. is in control of the Western Hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine is in play. Now they're calling it the Donroe Doctrine, Donald Trump Donroe Doctrine. Other people are calling it, but it's in play, and they're taking care of business. What are they going to do with the oil of the U.S.? Well, they're going to sell it on world markets. They're going to keep it, sell it, and give money back to the people of Venezuela to help rebuild that country, as well as repay the American companies that these oil wells and refineries were stolen from when Chavez nationalized the petroleum industry in the 70s, I believe, late 70s in Venezuela. They just took the American companies, nationalized them, and threw everybody out. But the American oil companies did spend billions to develop the oil in Venezuela, and they'll do it again. They'll do it again. They're coming back. They're going to do it again. Now, Trump says he's also sat down with the interim leaders there, and they've agreed to supply 30 to 50 million barrels of oil, I think, a month, a week, a day, whatever. They're going to supply a lot of oil to the U.S., which they're going to sell and give back to the people of Venezuela and repay the companies who were nationalized. And they've also agreed to buy all their goods from the United States. So anything Venezuela needs, they can buy from the United States now. And what was the other thing they said they were going to do? There's another part of all this that they were going to do as well. But it's all good news for Venezuelans, all good news for Venezuela. And now we can hope that Cuba follows suit. But there's a little problem with Cuba and the dictator over in Colombia. They said that if the United States tries anything in Colombia or Cuba, that they're going to immediately go to war. It makes me laugh. These tin pot dictators, paper tigers, they got nothing. They're going to go to war with the U.S. But now the president of Colombia has rethought his statement. He's coming to Washington, to the White House, to have a little powwow with Trump and decide what they want to do in that region. Trump will lay the law down, and that'll be that. Now, Trump's not finished in the Western Hemisphere when he gets that settled. Now he's going to take over Greenland. And he wants Greenland for security purposes and will acquire it with a negotiated deal with Denmark. It's going to be a deal that some say will probably or perhaps pay off Denmark's national debt and giving citizens of Greenland money. The deal's on the table being negotiated. Stay tuned as the events of the negotiations unfold for Greenland. But come hell or high water, the United States is going to be controlling Greenland and in turn controlling all the passages that come across the Arctic. They're going to be securing them. Why is Greenland so important? Well, Russia has been bulking up for years in the Arctic with 40 icebreakers plying the waters to keep them open for Russian ships. And they also have subs patrolling the area off Greenland, between Iceland and Iceland in the UK, which could pose a very big security threat with all those subs wandering around there. The Trump administration says national security trumps diplomacy, and if Denmark drags their feet on this agreement, the U.S. intel is picking up increased activity by Russia and China subs in the area, and China has dual bases in Iceland that could be used to relay information to their carrier groups. National security is breached, and that means the U.S. has to move in no matter what. If this is all true, we know it is. They've already figured it out. Either way, Trump is going to go to make a move on it. He's going to make a move to take Greenland. The easy way or the hard way, doesn't matter to him. He can do it either way. Once again, stay tuned as Marco Rubio is going to Denmark to make the deal, and it could happen any time. So the Western Hemisphere, other than Canada, is secure. Canada doesn't want to play ball. No, they are enlisting 300,000 federal employees that are working for the federal government. They're going to be our army. That's right. 90% aren't even Canadian. They're from another country. The other 10% can't find the right bathroom to use. They don't know what bathroom to use. But they're going to protect us if the United States tries to do anything. How embarrassing. How embarrassing is that? Forget about it. It's the weekend. Forget about it. The weekends were made for Michelob. Don't even worry about it. Nothing's going to happen. Carnage was hired to liquidate Canada. He's doing everything he can to screw Canada and liquidate it, going to the highest bidder. The highest bidder will be the United States. Alberta is on its way out. They've had enough with the Venezuela oil seizure. Their oil means nothing. That leverage for Canada is gone. They're going to get the hell out of this confederation. Saskatchewan, Scott Moe is going to follow. Manitoba is going to follow. The BC Interior wants out because the softwood lumber industry, even the Northwest Territories have had enough. Quebec never wanted to be part of Canada in the first place. The East Coast are all fishermen. They're all maritimers. They're going to go with Rhode Island or whatever the hell's on the coast over there. And then we got the La La Land in BC there. They'll join up with the kooks from California, Washington, and Oregon. I mean, yeah, this country's done. Everybody says I'm a traitor and I'm an idiot and I'm a traitor and I'm a jerk and everything. I don't care. I don't care what they call me because the bottom line is we're going down. You can see it. And I don't care what spin these politicians that are running Ottawa say. You can see it happening. That's it for me on Finally Friday. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go home and I'm going to relax. It's been a long, long week coming back from the holidays. Now, Monday, 12 noon, Manic Monday, we'll be here. Don't worry about it. Promises made, promises kept. Noon sharp, I'll be in the studio. We'll talk about whatever happens over the weekend. Whatever's happening in Niagara Falls, we'll talk about it. I want to please, please, please ask you to support our sponsors. They're great corporate citizen, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, and Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Great corporate citizens. They support the city, and we should support our small business in Niagara Falls, no matter who they are. I want to ask you to tune in again Monday. I want to ask you to subscribe to my channel. We hit 200. We're staying there, it looks like. We need more. We want to get more. We need some more people here in this party before the election hits on October 26th, I think it is. We want more. There's more happening. Regional council could be dissolved and a new form of regional government could be coming in. We want everybody involved so they know what's going on. Don't be left out in the cold. Listen to this show. I'll tell you. You don't have to search anywhere else. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. Your city, your voice. Paul Lemire, 4973 is the channel. Subscribe, thumbs up, comments. Thank you, John Ringo Beam, for your comments. And I appreciate anybody who sends a comment to this phone, 289-994-7560. We'll see you. God bless you all. Have a great weekend. It's going to be nice, and then we're going to get back into seasonable weather. So enjoy while you can. Have a great one. Talk to you Monday, 12 noon sharp on Your City, Your Voice in the studios of 4680Q Radio. Signing off.